Hello everyone, bonsoir. Sometimes the classics. Hello Fräulein. Not again. Cheers, Chris. Well, even though that is an original. Hello, I'm the dead. Colabunda. Salut Robin. Hello Sylvain. Hello Joe. Aham kumquata. Hello, how you doing? Materialiseba. Zopa. Hello. Hello Stéphane. I do. Salut Pinap. Salut Raph. Hello Thomas. Thank you Thomas for being a steady early supporter and kicking off the show very nicely for me. Hello Noah's Revenge. Art Noulart. Hello Millennium Mambo. I guess her voice will never sound the same again. Hello Bernd. Hello Zetman. Rocket Craig Music, hello. Nice Paul. Let me know more later. Hello Daniel. Thank you Bernd and thank you Barry, both of you, for leaving nice, very nice tips in the coffee jar as well. Merci les amis. It's been a week. For another time. Hello Queen. Yeah. That's the movie that actually sold me finally onto Dior. I must confess I was a bit snobby about her for a little while. Hello, S of 10's victims. Anthony. Bert. Hello Zelvia, how are you doing? I will tonight. Hello SND Seeker, how you doing, Marcos? Good evening everyone, how are you doing? How was your week? I thought, considering the state of the world, I guess we all want to hide in a hidden place, to find a hidden place for ourselves. Is this it for you? If I can contribute to that a little bit, well, that's already that. Hello Arlo, how you doing? Spiderland 77, good name, huh? Always. Yeah. I have this project of, I don't know, fucking with the algorithm. As you noticed, since day one, the whole structure of YouTube vinyl community channels of when you have like a format and you have episode 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I thought I'd make a little fun of that in an absurdist kind of way and just randomly choose a number every week. Sometimes there might be some meaning behind it, most often not. And basically it's an attempt, a romantic attempt to bully the algorithm. Salut compare vinyle, how you doing? Oh, someone's good here. Indeed. This is the latest reissue, or first vinyl issue of Andrea Penso, Organic Shelter, on the Italian label, Holidays. This was released as a CDR originally on his own label. There's a little bit of an insert. Not much, but gives you a little bit of his mindset for this. I have a different one, but always this simple but very classy object, I guess they do. And as for the two previous ones, 100 copies. What were they thinking, huh? Well, they were maybe thinking of creating something a little bit special, something that needs to be fought over a little bit, or that you need to deserve it to have it, and that it's not just about the money but also about the attention, the dedication. No beanie tonight because it's so cold out there that I warmed up the studio all day, and I won't say it's a sauna, and I'm sure I'm gonna regret that in 2 hours from now. But right now it's pretty fine. Hello Greg, how you doing? Yeah, salut Florian. Florian's been very instrumental of late for me to get some of my finds. You know, he's been a very good go-between. Hello 40 man. Yeah, and it's a sidelong track that, as for his previous ones, crave the attention on a longer span than most tracks, obviously. Soon we'll have exactly the same, but with small, very subtle details that make all the difference as far as I'm concerned. Is this ambient? I guess so. Probably the purest form of ambient. But now you can hear this sort of field recording sound, or whatever that is. That suddenly opens the door to a much wider world. And it's such a small detail. a choice. Hello Dave, Babaluma, one of the best record stores in Europe. Thanks for stopping by. Ah, was that a dust? Yeah, the harmonies might be reminiscent of that a little bit. So yeah, we opened with a classic, Björk's album from 2001 I think. Yeah, 2001, yeah. Versatile, A Hidden Place, a song that is credited to Thomas Knack and Matt Moss as the co-producers on that. A long time ago I was told that Mark Bell from LFO actually had his hand at it in a pretty major way, which would be surprising why he wouldn't be credited fully there, but apparently it wouldn't be the first time. Who knows? Any opportunity to mention Mark Bell is good in my mind. Congrats, Paul. That was a great one. Ah, good question. We'll see. I guess that's a cliché. Yeah, that's the easy way, but why not? Yeah, I think too. Thank you, Marcos. So today I have a lot of stuff. Today is going to be an interesting stream. Prepare to challenge yourself. That's all I'm saying. And also prepare to be happy. And prepare to learn some stuff. But yeah, many possible directions tonight. Visiting old friends. Many possibilities. Yeah, Cravenfold released a couple of years ago an album that I really thought was a strong entry in contemporary electronic music. I haven't yet connected with the new one that was released last week or so, but who knows, might give it another visit. Yeah, hello Ivan, how are you doing? Yeah, I can imagine. How much preparation, how much improv, huh? I spent 3 hours this afternoon preparing it, going through a bunch of records that I thought I might play tonight and to rekin myself with them. And there's some more, but you'll see. And there's also all the work of identifying what might be part of this and end up on the stream. Yeah, the disintegration loops from William Basinski that were just reissued this very week. It was announced last fall, and I think it's this week that it's actually finally available. I don't really know Andorra's Revenge. I met her twice in very strange conditions. I think she might be. She probably has been. Yeah, I love these little bubbly glitches that have their own harmony. Andra Penso, Organic Shelter. They are, Chris. A sort of postmodern concept. I have the box set here. The reissue is not exactly the same as the original, which is much bigger, which features some additional stuff, including DVDs and a massive booklet. Yeah, William Basinski has been making music since the early 80s, and he was playing the saxophone in the streets of New York, and not very successfully commercially. He did record some sessions with other musicians. In the late 90s, he finally got the attention of the modern avant-garde, and Rasternoton released his first album in 1999, I believe. I have it somewhere here. And then while transferring old tapes that were on the verge of disintegration, well, he noticed that while recording them, the tape dissolved, and he sort of made a performance of it, or like he recorded. There's a system where you can play and record at the same time on the same tape. You play the tape, and the tape is also looped in a way that it recorded itself. So it recorded the imperfections and added more and more and more as it disintegrated. And the story says that William Basinski on September 11, 2001 was having a sort of party with friends on the roof of his loft in New York, where he was playing that music. And that created a connection between the music, or the experience, and the events. So we're listening to what now? We're listening to Konrad Schnitzler. This is a very special recording. This is his film music from 1975. As you can see, this was released on Cubico. This is part of that box that I played last week, I believe. An LP box set. This was reissued by Bureau B in the 2010s, or the but they didn't release exactly the same version as this. And this is a track that apparently was not on the Bureau B edition of it, that was missing from it. That is an extended version of a track on Gelbe, or alternate take extended. Some people would have called that proto-techno a few years back. Why not let it stand for what it is? Huh? Salut Perplex. Yeah, some of you don't speak English yet. Well, French community, huh? Hello Ultra Drums. I'm good, how are you? Taming the cold. For 2.5 hours, yeah. Yeah, sometimes I don't need as much prep, or I decide to not have, but depends on how new the records are to me sometimes. Yeah, it's missing that. Let that track bleed into the next for a little while. So you get an example of what actually is available on the Bureau B label edition of this. Let's see. Wow. Thank you, Chris, Manuel Gocho, Spiderland, and Marcos for all leaving nice little tips in the coffee jar as well. Merci les amis. Yeah, tonight, I don't want to say as usual, but I will deserve it and more. Hopefully, you'll tell me. There's time. Wow. Exactly, Ed, about William Basinski. Hello Dom. Hello Chuck, how you doing? Billy Bob. Next is a very important record for me in this new year. Hello. Hello, Randy. Yeah. Soul Psychedelic. Hello, Paul. Nice to see you. Yes, they are. Oh, hello Angry Dom Records. Hello Angry Mom, maybe? Probably, probably. They are. That's not necessarily a good thing for the man. When I first heard that, I never asked myself the question about what is this voice singing about. Outside, we bleed each other endlessly. When I pay attention, I can hear the vocals. And that puts me in a world not far away from Coil, I must say. Yeah, this is really, really good. One of the strongest releases of the past few months. And it came out at an odd time. And this comes from a strange place, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. Salut Bruno. Totally. That's what I thought when I heard this first. But there's something unique about it. In this cloud of reasons. Congratulations, Record Hound. So where is this coming from, huh? Where is this coming from? Hello, OHAD.
Hi, Stunty.
Congrats on your latest album, your second one under your own name, if I'm being correct, at least on vinyl.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for taking the time to stop by. When I learned about this record, I think it was probably just the new releases or upcoming releases on Boomcat. I thought, okay, if this is a tiny sort of a boutique release, I don't want to take any chances. So I think I a bit boldly contacted you directly about it. While I contacted you, I realized that it is a small release. It's released on a small label from Athens in Greece. And I think that right now the only place where you can find it is either there or on Boomcat, or on the Bandcamp of the label.
Yes, probably. You're probably right. Maybe in some shops, I'm not sure, but it's a small release.
So I'm directly in the chat. Some people made a connection with a project from Peter Christopherson from Coil. Does that talk to you?
Funny you should say that. I never considered. I mean, of course, growing up in the '80s, I would listen to that music. I never considered it as a big influence, but people keep mentioning it, so it's probably a bigger influence than I thought it is.
It's also maybe that it's maybe the zeitgeist. A lot of the music that was created in this time, that was early, maybe too early, is now connecting with people in a whole different way, and which makes people make associations, and the techniques that were vanguard in the early 90s are now becoming more normal. Although you've been actually active and releasing music since that very time, haven't you?
Yes. I've been around for a while. Well, I mean, historically, from that crowd, I was very much into psychic TV.
Yeah.
They were a big influence, and I think um, maybe one thing they can spot as an influence is actually the kind of stylistic range. Like, when we used to pick up a psychic TV album in the 80s, you you didn't know what would be the style of the music actually.
Yeah.
You couldn't guess, what it's going to be this time. And sometimes it would be, kind of abstract and industrial. Sometimes it would be um, psychedelic songs, and sometimes it would be a combination. And I think those bands and Coil, as well to some extent, um, make that kind of scope possible. They were interested in song, music, and they were interested in abstract, and they were interested in noise. And this is something that I can relate to.
And to give some context to the people, where was that you were picking up these Salchik TV records?
Where did I grow up?
Yeah,
I grew up in Jerusalem, in Israel.
which you currently are still in,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. I live
Yeah,
in Tel Aviv, not in Jerusalem, but yeah,
yeah.
I'm based here.
When I heard the music, I was instantly taken. I thought this is a great project, something that was not put together. Like there's some thought behind that. And when I learned that you were from Israel, obviously that intrigued me even more. Not necessarily that I don't expect such music from that place, but because of the world events, I'm
Yeah,
always curious about. I was instantly curious about. Okay, someone who's doing some very left field music, very artistic, coming and living in Israel. Even though I know that you're also a trained dancer, which means you've studied dancing, you traveled the world,
yeah,
and you've had several lives in music. You were sort of a part of a pretty popular alternative rock band in the late
yeah,
80s, early 90s in Israel, which is
yeah,
something we wouldn't think about, right? Already from the rest of the world, there was like a sort of Israeli wire.
yeah. Kind of a post-punk.
Yeah, post-punk-ish alternative rock. And obviously there's a journey between that and what we heard, even if it's not like an unlikely one. But can you tell us a little bit about what it is? What is it is to make such music in the current context in Israel, and also how you connect, if you even do, that music that we heard with the current events, and then we'll listen to some more.
Sure. I mean, it's kind of a complex question because in many ways it is not related, or it's not directly related because it's not topical music, um, and music anyway, especially the kind of music that we are involved with, is to some degree abstract, and it's just not that kind of directly political medium sometimes. Having said that, I think, just being a person uh, at this moment in history, um, your life has a very strong political aspect to it. You are political, we are political, and we are being affected strongly, but by everything that is happening. And I mean, culturally, me and people, my friends and people like me, um, we really exist, on the fringes here. Um, and the fringe, the cultural fringe and the political fringe, I guess, and most of the time, it goes hand in hand.
Yeah.
Um, and so it's a strange existence, to try and keep doing what you do, keep making art, keep making music, in the midst of all of this. Um, I guess, on a personal level, you get used um, to a certain, you get used to live with a certain constant level of shame, guilt, anger, despair. Um, and I think, and I think at the end, it all kind of turn itself into stress. I think we are all pretty stressed at the moment, you
Yeah.
know. Um, but I also think that it makes, um, kind of every kind of cultural act that is kind of honest and true, and I think it just makes everything a little bit more um, what's the word, urgent, or
Yeah.
and
Urgency, a sense
yeah,
of
a
emergency.
sense of
Yeah, absolutely.
urgency. I think there's a sense of urgency to everything, um, and I guess nothing is taken for granted.
Would you
Um,
say that in the like living in Israel, and being somewhat, even if you live in the fringes, you have had a career, so people would know who you are if they looked it up there. Do you feel that music is maybe a way for you to say stuff that you would maybe feel would be dangerous to say or to express in the traditional ways?
um, I think it's a different way of saying things. I think saying things with art is not the same as saying things with words, in a conversation. Um, I think it's a different kind of saying. It's a different kind of statement, and it's a deeper statement probably. I think you can. I think one of the things that is happening now, has to do with the kind of diminishing of the imagination. I think the fascism is, one of the things that it does, very effectively, actually, is to kind of narrow down what people actually allow themselves to imagine.
Yeah,
And I mean, it's now, people talk about political imagination. That's a kind of a term that people use a lot, and how to keep, in such horrible times, how to keep widening or opening the political imagination. So what people can actually imagine politically, or what kind of future people actually allow themselves to imagine or find possible to imagine. But I think art, before political imagination, there's just imagination.
yeah,
And art is responsible. This is our responsibility. For us, we are in charge of the imagination. We are kind of playing with that. This is our realm.
yeah.
This is where we. So I think, this is a kind of a deeper responsibility, and and
So
a
you
kind of a
you acknowledge a sort of sense of responsibility that that is your language and your way to participate. And let's see, and then you tell us what the next song track, where it comes from, or where
sure.
or not. We'll see.
Okay.
And again, here is the Boomcat link. Google this if you want to find alternatives to find OHAD's album.
Night travelers in constant motion, a sudden major breakdown, only the sound of the galloping engine remains. Pain is a cruel conqueror, outflanking and spreading in all directions. The whole took your shape. I'm flattening the crumbled paper. The title reads, A Case for a Life of Passion. Night travelers, go back to a narrow bed. We are moderns, Westerners. We live to move, we move to live, changing while moving in the dark. It was written there.
No one understands anymore what's inside what. No one understands anymore what's inside what. No one understands anymore what's inside what.
What a jerk sits and writes a letter to a ghost.
No one understands anymore what's inside what. What's inside what? What's inside what?
Night travelers will be eventually emptied into a godforsaken somewhere. Walk a bit in the dark, reach a door and disappear. Love is such a potent substance. 1 or 2 drops might melt walls. Writing in the letter to the ghost, I'm so lonely without you, I want to kill myself.
So much in this. I hear dub, I hear traditional music, I hear post-industrialism. It's what could you wish for more?
Thank you. Thanks, Stunty. Yeah, I think, there was a long time about I would say like 15, 20 years ago when I didn't release music. I kind of moved away from recorded music. I was doing a lot of live music and a lot of music for dance and video work and installation and so on. And I guess like many people, I got a little bit confused or overwhelmed about the whole prospect of recorded music, just because there was so much going on, and I just I wasn't sure if I have anything to add to that. But I think when I went back and I wanted to make an album again, first of all I realized that I really like albums, which and not necessarily because I like vinyl, but because I like the artistic format of it, and which is in a way arbitrary. It's a result of the vinyl format, but probably because I grew up with this format, I realized that I still like it, and I like to make kind of um, the possibility of making a story, a narrative. And I find that, and for me, that became kind of really interesting, like how I can go, how I can start somewhere and then end up in a totally different place sometimes, kind of, but say stylistically maybe, um, and how I can make a coherent journey from between those very far away places musically.
So that track we just listened must have an extra meaning since it's actually closing one of the two sides of the record.
Yeah, that was a kind of anchor track, kind of I knew it needed to be in the album, and um, it's one of the three songs, like tracks with there's one more, but it's kind of in gibberish. So these are one of the three tracks with lyrics in them. Um, and but I kind of feel that each track is different stylistically for me, or it's of a specific kind. And if I had two tracks of the same kind, I decided to leave one out and just keep the better one.
Mm.
S- I wanted to kind of I wanted to get to have this thing that where each track is somehow different, or just of its kind, one of its kind.
Well, that's certainly it. And it's funny because when I first heard the album, like now I played two of the tracks with some singing, and these are not the ones that first got my attention. So there's many ways into that record. It's sort of there's a demiurgic quality to it, and but again, like this came out um, at the very end of last year.
Yes.
This came out on a Greek label. I bought this. It was distributed by a British company, even if Shlomo, who runs Boomcat, is also has connections, is Jewish. But and as you said, like you were more interested in the fact that this was an album than a vinyl, even though, as you said, and when I look back at your career, you must be into vinyl, since even throughout the 90s with your previous rock band, you were even during the mid 90s, you were still releasing
Yeah.
vinyl records in Israel.
Yeah, for
So
sure.
what does that mean to release that record for you that way when it was released?
You
Obviously,
mean in terms of the vinyl?
in terms of the vinyl and how it was released and when it was released.
You mean the new album?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
in this case it was. I mean, your previous one was released on Tortoise, and this one, like, you had a lot of stuff that you self-released or that was released in Israel. Now
Yeah.
your music is being released
Yeah.
on international labels.
Yeah, my previous album, album one, was released on Entract,
Entract, yeah, Entract.
Entract to
Mm.
2019, an amazing label, which I
Yeah.
really love, and I think through Entract, through Alone in Entract, I got to know Victor, who was then running Stalag in Moscow, and he released a CD of that I made with Ilan Volkov, who's a conductor and improviser, and we made an album for Stalag, which was Victor's previous label. So that's how I got to know him first, and then he took his operation to Greece, and yeah, and that's how we got to work together, and that's how we got to release this album. Yeah, the vinyl thing is, y- um, it's a kind of it's a slower thing. It's almost ridiculously slow in comparison to the,
compared
uh,
to what we can do now. Yeah,
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 it's heavy and it's slow and it's takes so much time, in snail mail, and so it's almost kind of feels outside of this world,
yeah.
or kind of, yeah.
It's
But
weird because, like, I guess one of the things that I was alluding to, like releasing on a Greek label, distributed through a British system, you living in Israel, um, this shows how small the world actually is. And
yeah,
right now we have forces that want to make it even smaller in a way, but smaller in a way that is making us further apart from each other. And what you just said about like creating a different sense of time, I think maybe that's a better way to make the world bigger, to not dilute, yeah, to make time, to inflate time in a way, to create its own capsule that exists and adds to the, even if it's in the abstract world, it's still real. And I saw other people mentioning again, like Coil or Psychic TV. What I really realized that I enjoyed about your album is how central I thought it was.
hmm, interesting. I like
Often
that.
you can think of music in terms of like music being intellectual or very emotional, and I felt this existed in it is abstract music, but I connected it very physically with my body.
That's very interesting. I like that. I mean, I it's the first time that I hear this kind of comment, but I like it a lot. I work in dance, I choreograph, and I work in dance and in performance. So physicality is very important in my life, and I think I think everything that I do is has to do somehow with, or I think listening and dancing is what really prepares me for my artistic work, whatever my artistic work is. Um, so yeah, so I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you.
But do you think that your day job, if we could say so, of being a choreographer and being a dancer, that when we think a little bit about it, like, do you see having worked with other musicians in your past who are not necessarily that connected with their own body, do you maybe see that as an asset you have, something that you can manifest consciously? Obviously wasn't totally the case there, since I seems I took you a little bit by surprise with that comment.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's I'm sure it's for me. It might be more difficult to acknowledge it or to recognize it, but I'm sure there are connections. It's I mean, music is such a complex process now.
Yeah,
Um, Making it, imagining it, and then listening to it, and so much is we put so much into it. We put so much attention and so much of ourselves into it, and I'm sure that all my other experience and life experience and my artistic experience is also kind of coming into it,
mm.
in ways that I'm not even aware of.
Well,
Yeah,
shall we listen to another song track
yeah,
of
for
it?
sure.
What do you think? Which one should we would you like to share?
There's Well, I like Looking for Water,
Okay.
or Space Story.
Well, you choose.
Okay, so Looking for Water.
See, a direct physical manifestation. You tell me a track, and I put a needle blindly on an empty groove, right, leading into a field groove. It's funny that someone here, Paul, Dead Quiet Vinyl, is asking, how in the hell is this even made? I want to answer for you. Since this music, there's something obviously esoteric about it. Esotericism was born, the idea of esotericism is to hide how it's made. Like in alchemy, when chemistry and alchemy were not as clearly defined as two separate fields, when it was still kind of magic or bluff, like the books doctors were holding were intentionally obtuse so that they would still keep their own formula. I'm not saying that you should keep your own formula, but it's funny how people react differently. How when I hear this, I don't need to understand how this was made, but some do. What
No,
does that make you
but
feel?
I agree. I agree. I really like this feeling as a listener also of not knowing or not understanding how something has been made. I find it very intriguing and and I think um, this is one of the reasons why I was always attracted to music that came out of my own culture. Um, because I love my music, or music of my culture, but after a while, you have a pretty good idea of how it is organized. You kind of, you nod your head and you know what's going to be the next, the next, like with my son. I sometimes I hum songs, and we listen to pop music together, and he asked me, "Do you know this song?" So I say, "No, I don't." So he said, "How do you know how it's going?" He said, "Because I know, millions of songs like that, so I know exactly, you know, this is how well I know what organizes this music." But then when you listen to music from other cultures, I find that really stimulating and intriguing to hear music that is very sophisticated and well organized, but you don't understand, what is behind it, how it is being made, how it is organized. I love this feeling.
And
And
still managing to find a sort of innocent joy and pleasure from it.
yeah, and fascination,
Yeah.
because there's so many ways of doing this.
I always fear when I listen to Beethoven, for example, that if I could figure out the state of mind to create the Seventh Symphony, I would not need to listen to it ever again, ever, and that makes me sad. So I don't really want to crack the whole code. But you mentioned culture twice now. Um, Obviously, you're also a citizen of the world, but you're Israeli. What is your culture, and where do we find it in your music, if we do?
Well, that's a good question. I grew up with pop music, and I think in terms of music,
Israeli pop music as well?
at the beginning, although the first cassette I've ever bought was ABBA. Obviously. So I think in that sense, I grew up in kind of global pop culture, and my taste developed like many people, or possibly, probably people that are listening now and people are here, like as a kind of growing curiosity. You start with pop music, and then you're going to the history of rock music, and then you want to hear a bit more, and there's punk, and there's post-punk, and there's new wave, and then there's reggae, and then so you follow it, and there's soul music, and and then there's world music, and you just become kind of more hungry
Mm.
for all this different, and you go into improv, and you go into avant-garde, and you go into noise. And so I think this is the kind of journey of as a teenager, discovering music. I was also very much into performance art, and just art in general, and literature, and everything I can put my hands on. Records were not that easily available. You always had to kind of chase them, a little bit more probably than in Europe. Um, but I don't have a kind of a strong folk background.
Mm.
or something like that. Of course, there was always, whatever was playing in the background, and local stuff. But um, yeah, I don't know.
You're not out there to reinvent klezmer like John Zorn or stuff, anything like that.
No, no, but no, because also, there is this complex relationship, I think, because my grandparents, they were kind of socialists, and they were, um, so they were resenting, um, they were kind of non-religion,
Mm,
so kind of religion culture wasn't really part of our upbringing, and they were very much, they had this kind of international socialist dream,
mm.
um, so yeah, but 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 then there's also a kind of resistance, which is kind of politically based, culturally based, that started to develop, very early on, I think, um, kind of disagreement, with the political situation here, um, with the occupation, with nationalism, and all the rest of it, and all the things that are now kind of exploding. So I think that made things even more complex for me, and I I think one of the musics that really influenced me was actually fourth world music.
Mm. John
Um,
Hassel.
yeah, yeah, John Hassel, and you know others that Zazo Bikaya, and Olga Shukai, and some of Eno's work, and others, and
Maybe now I'm gonna blow your mind. Maybe Raviv Gazit.
Raviv Gazet. Wow, yeah, that album.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, once you start going into a style, a genre, there's more and more to explore, right? And more. But this kind of music, that is kind of music from nowhere, or music from imaginary worlds, this always very much talked to me and spoken to me, and that possibility of inventing worlds or inventing cultures was always very appealing for me.
I talked about that earlier today with a friend who's actually in the chat here. I studied political geography at university, which has nothing to do with geopolitics. It's the studying of the history of borders, how, by whom, and why borders of a country are traced, created. And I guess fourth world music is a way to reclaim that power from the politicians and diplomats. So that's kind of what I guess you're doing, because I guess it would be, I kind of feel, even if I wanted, I'm very curious for you to tell me about like a whole scene of avant-garde experimental music in Israel that we don't really know about, but maybe it doesn't really exist. And obviously you represent yourself and the culture of your family, of your bringing, of your life experiences. And maybe it's just good enough for it to be that. But at the same time, doing what you're doing, where you're doing, is sort of fourth world political geography.
I mean, I like that. Thank you. I think it's a really nice thing to say, and it's a very useful thing to say, because I think we do have the power, on a very in an artistic way, yeah. But we can come up with different ways of describing the world.
Yeah.
and and borders describe the world in a certain way, and we can describe the world in a totally different way, and that goes back to what we talked about earlier on with the imagination.
Mm.
It's what you allow yourself to imagine. But yeah, so I can relate to that.
OHAD, thank you for stopping by to chat with
Thank you so
us.
much for having me, Stunty. It's been a pleasure, and thanks for everybody. And
Plaisir partagé. Everyone, if you were interested in that little discussion we had and the free songs that we listened to, Google OHAD's name or follow the link here. It's one of the easiest place to find the record and find a way to get it, because you will thank yourself for taking that decision, I believe. And hope to hear from you soon again, OHAD. I'll have something to ask you privately later. And
we'll keep on talking.
and
Thank you so much, man.
my pleasure. And have a nice evening, and enjoy the rest of the show if you have time.
I will for sure.
Bye bye.
Great show. Thank you.
Hello, Diglersberg. Hello, John. Manuel Ridebaum. Hello, Mr. Zosh. Forgot to say that OHAD's album is mastered by Yves Demey, who did a fantastic album last year. We listened to on Otto Lindholm's Totalism label. Now we're listening to a track from a friend of the show, Bobby Braden, formerly of the Field Mice, Northern Picture Library, his latest album of his current project, Lightning in the Twilight Hour. Wonderful pop music, I would say. I'll see if I can find you the link of this. This is still available. I'll give you the Discogs link. But you should be able to find it in regular new release outlets. We listened to a single 12-inch of his 2 weeks ago, I think. Or was it? Yeah, 2 weeks ago, I think. Here it is. Yeah, it is nice. And it is also shorter than I remembered, as I planned to have to not have a blank like that. But I guess I can allow myself that. Like, no one is gonna complain massively out there. Someone we listened to last week, but who's been nicely productive of late. I had a sort of proxy discussion the other day about productivity in music, quality control. And I used to think that you should only release the best of yourself, of your art, and I have a very different perspective now. Also, since I've started releasing music myself and making a living out of it, if an artist I'm interested in releases 4, 5, 6, 10 albums a year, I'm all for it. No one can force me to buy everything. I can still make my mind up about what I want from them. But I can also support them. I can buy the records if I can afford it. I can buy them if I want, just to support them. And then I don't need to keep a record forever. No? Yeah, I forgot. Like, someone was saying that I had a little bit of an echo while I was starting the interview, the discussion with OHAD. And, I had to put echo cancellation, and now I had to take it away. So I hope the sound is better now. Well, maybe you shouldn't then, Randy. You can be my friend though. Hello, DJ Fancy Lad, Radio CPR. How is Washington doing? Well, we're not far off, but Marcos is correct. We're listening to the latest Richard Young's album, Hidden. Released on Black Truffle. Mastered by Jotalia, huh? Records are not just a playground for wannabe audiophiles, huh? And thank you, Frank Ruffing, GBL, and Mr. Zosh, and Daniel. Oh, thank you guys for leaving nice little tips in the coffee jar. Merci beaucoup, les amis. I'm kind of like 60% into my ideal objective for tonight. So that's cool. That's nice. Hello, Liam, how are you doing, my friend? Will I see you in April? Yeah, I find like almost every single record on Black Truffle interesting to the very least. The stuff that I like the least on Black Truffle tends to be the stuff by its boss, but I shouldn't say that, but well. That Lightning in the Twilight Hour album, huh? Double album, by the way. Some tracks are, even if that one had song, it was kind of dream pop, ambient-ish. There are songs that are more straight up pop songs with more defined rhythms. Not that I need that. It's just that that's what the record is. And of course, it was an accident, but like it's always nice to play Richard Young's after or before Bobby Vreden, since Bobby really put him, or even if he was already on my radar, he's the one who made it active. It was Daniel, huh? So that album, the other side has more singing, but I prefer this side. Another theme for tonight, huh? After the Björk track, Hidden. Here's the album we're listening to. Hello, Brian. How you doing, my friend? That's what I mean. Indeed, Arthur Supercagouille. What's cool with Richard Young's is that if you like his records, you don't need to like them all. I certainly don't, but I don't mean that as a problem, because he's a good example of what I was talking about like 10 minutes ago. He releases a shitload of records. He probably had like 4 albums last year. I don't need to get them all, but I can. They're rarely priced excessively. And then I choose which one I keep. He's that kind of artist that deserves to be supported. A completely independent artist who follows his muse from record to record. It's difficult for me to say that there is a Richard Young's sound, apart from the fact that he is experimenting, he is trailblazing. Thanks for doing it, Grass. I see what you're doing though, and you're perfectly welcome to do that. Grasshopper did the Toronto Rocks vinyl tag. That was quite fun. He put a lot of effort into that one. Like I certainly never put as much energy into editing in my videos, so it's always fun when someone who has interesting music taste does go the extra mile. Thank you, Millennium Mambo, for leaving a nice little tip in the coffee jar as well. Merci beaucoup. That goes a long way. You guys don't know, maybe, or I know I repeat myself, but I can do this on a weekly basis, challenging myself like that, only thanks to you supporting the stream. Leaving a like to the video, leaving a comment, that's That's very nice. That keeps me going as well. And the ones who can afford the extra mile by tipping their DJ of the night, like Millennium Mambo right now, following the links in the description of the video, well, that allows me to follow my leads, follow my intuitions in a much faster and efficient way than I could otherwise. Dedicating your time and your passion to finding records and discovering new stuff that way, that much, that has a price, that has a toll. I'm sure you guys know it. And girls. Yeah. See? Perfect example of what we were saying. The next record is coming from the past. I guess 40 Men will enjoy it. I guess if it was for someone, it would be for him, maybe for Magic Berber. It's a record that's been on my radar for the longest time, and I just waited for the right opportunity and your support. It's part of a series of 3 albums, sort of a library concept, by some of the absolutely most incredible musicians of the 20th century. So we're gonna listen to a couple of tracks there. It's not the best of pressings, but sometimes you have to live with it. See that click? I'm sure I could do something about it. Maybe sometime I'll get one of these machines, huh? So we're currently listening to Egistomaki. Risonanze 1. Evocazioni musicali di temi biblici. Musical evocation of biblical time. We're listening to Tenebre by Egistomaki. I can make out most of the text here, but it's in Italian. So there's 2 other volumes, one that is like not that good, one that is quite good but even worse pressing. This track is magnificent. Egistomaki was part of Il Gruppo di Improvvisazione Nuova Consonanza, the Ennio Morricone band, amongst other things, featuring a lot of different musicians, basically a small group of musicians from Roma, including Ennio Morricone. It didn't include the next composer of the next track. This one is like, the track is called Tenebre, so obviously the track is feeding the mood. But the next one is quite different, as we're entering Luce. This is Alessandro Alessandroni, also a friend of the group, but not part of the group. And this I found in Den Bosch for $5. Hello, Herc. Themes, yeah, indeed. And now, one of the tracks by Il Maestro, Shalom, Ennio Morricone. There's 3 tracks by Morricone. Three tracks by Egistomaki, one by Alessandro Alessandroni, and all the tracks by Luigi Zito. I mean, this sounds Ennio Morricone as fuck. Hello, 1, 2, 3, it's me. Oh my god. Yeah. Hello, Sister Disciple. Yeah, Nurse's Wound. Absolutely. Amazing, Chuck. Good idea. Yeah. It's a good cheapo. Won't be a cheapo forever because this is a small release. There can't be that many copies. And there is only one pressing, to the best of my knowledge. And I just noticed we passed the midnight threshold. 808, it's that disco time after Shalom. I believe it is. Oh. One of my favorite tracks to play after hours parties. Well, but that's the best stuff of Morricone, 40 Man. So, how many records did you buy last year? Just think if you concentrate the new one on Morricone. Easy. I think this record I'm playing is one of the very first few records I recommended Daniel privately. Do that. I love long form intros, beatless. even if he hasn't been that good of late, successful in my opinion, probably my favorite techno producer of the past 20 years. Indeed, Detroit. I booked him to a party, to a festival I was creating a stage for 8 years ago. Total gent. DJ Bone. His first 2018 album, Beyond. His own Subject Detroit label, fully independent. Indeed he is. He's the master of sort of ritournelle, techno ritournelle, like long form for techno melodies, looped, that creates all sorts of angles. I believe this was they probably only did like 300 copies, maybe 500, and it has gone a little bit up in price, but for the longest time you could find it for dirt cheap. Okay, d'Alexandre Desplat, okay, interesting. Yeah, when you run a record shop, there's always work to be done, huh? Nice. Yeah, for me, my favorite track of his is Circus something. I do have records with Jan Tiersen, but I don't have Jan Tiersen records per se. I love all these stop and goes in that track. Cheers, Grass. Thank you for leaving a nice tip in the coffee jar as well. Merci beaucoup. It does. It does so hard. He's sort of the Terry Riley of techno, I would say. The American of American techno. But just mixing this in a set, such a joy. Another cheapo, and a little shout out to friend of the show, Dimitris J. Glassdubs, who put me on the path of that record. Music of Greece peasants. Where is it? There. Yeah, it's a cheap record that has many layers. I play one of the more traditional songs on it. So I love the singing on this. The flute and the singing. It's pretty fast. It's more techno, I would say. Very psychedelic in its own way. And talking about psychedelic and 4/4, we're gonna get there. But before, something quite special and unusual from a great composer that a lot of you probably know and love. I forgot that the record was already started. Oh my god. One of these days, huh? But now we're getting deep. I guess this is not for everyone. Not for Randy. This is Pauline Oliveros. Maybe her rarest record. Her most electronic one, for sure. Electronic Essays, Jar Piece by Pauline Oliveros. There's also tracks by Istvan Anhalt and John Rhee. This was composed in Toronto, by the way, when Pauline was working at the University of Toronto Electronic Music Studio, attending lectures by Hugh Lacane. And I believe this is from like 1969 or something like that. This is an old record. The Marathon Music Incorporated. Let me find you the reference. Yeah, 1968. Took me, I don't know, maybe 15 years to find this one. I understand that many people could think this is just like random sine waves. This was a performance with a poet, by the way, and video projections. These are some of the images that were used for that performance. Yeah, see? I knew some people would think that. Oh, nice. Nice. The Deep Listening Band is Pauline Oliveros band with Stuart Dempster and friends. I can see that. But this is, imagine, this was released in 68 and recorded in 1966. 1966. What were the Beatles doing back then? When I mean, this is so rare that like this is one of these records I have to buy blind. Thanks to you guys, thanks to the support to the stream. I know it exists. I have a good intuition, and I'd rather buy stuff like that blind, because if you were in a shop and you just, you know, span through it with the needle, it could seem to be sort of like modem gibberish, modem sounds, but it's not, or at least I don't. I experience something much greater than that here when you give it the time. Dennis Smalley, I love Dennis Smalley, also a composer concerned with time. Kate Mansell from Pop Pool itself. This is not Paulina Libero's deep listening sound, but I guess this is deep listening anyways. But they did, or they could have, ultra drums. They did have that sound for a second. Yes, we transition to another another record. Oh, that's horrible, horrible, Herkimer. That record is dreadful. One of the worst electronic music records I've ever heard. We're listening to a track from a great compilation put out on Fourth Dimension record, not Fourth World, but Fourth Dimension. We're going beyond the world. And this is a track by Band of Pain. You also find a new track by Alternative TV, the punk band, Base Communion, which is, what's his name? The guy who from Porcupine Tree. You got Sion Organ, Final, which is Justin Broderick from Napalm Death and Godflesh. Drone Project, Edward Caspel from Legendary Pink Dots, Ashtray Navigations, Splintered being the band of Richo who put this out. But the extra reason I play this Band of Pain track is that Band of Pain on this occasion are Steve Pittis and Steven Stapleton. Someone mentioned Nurse's Wound earlier, there we go. You have to go into the insert credits to notice that Steven Stapleton is involved in this. And it's a great track. Dark, mysterious, surreal, a little mad. BWID YD. Good evening to you. What are you doing, Herc? See? Yeah, I've listened to that. I just got finally issued on vinyl. The second one, UFO 95, I'm not sure I know. Oh, great! Sarah, okay. Yeah, Nurse's Wound is by far my most collective band. Amazing brutalist soundscapes that still manage to find a sort of venomous, seductive, dead corner, blind side. Hey Jason. The compilation I was playing, it's called When Worlds Collide. Let me find you the link. It's a great compilation. Still, you can still find it on the cheap for double LP with great artists of the post-industrial scene. Now we're going to the American Stereolab, way underrated band. I've played them quite a few times over the years. This was the one record of theirs that was escaping me. Talking fuchsia. Special limited edition gold vinyl pressing. More like a clear orange. This was released on the Mind expansion, which means it was not as high profile as their other releases. Not that they were really high profile, but more than that. I think you will notice the sort of easygoing Stereolab vibe from a more American perspective. 1998. This album, Aggression. It doesn't turn up that often online. Here is the link for that record. Yeah, not the best. Yeah. Steven Stapleton, huh? I don't know if he needs that. Yeah, that's the thing that both of them share. A motoric beat reminiscent of Neu, albeit a way more chill and pop version of that. And also a love for similar synthesizers like Moog, Farfisa, stuff that was not in vogue during the 90s, unless you were trying to mimic them. And by the way, I haven't done that too often tonight. If you enjoyed the stream tonight and you want to support it, why shouldn't you, huh? The obvious, easy, painless way is to leave a little like to the video. You can go the extra mile by leaving a comment, letting me know what you think, what you like, what you don't like, what I should know, or whatever. And the extra mile is leaving a tip to your DJ. Go following one of the two links in the description of the video, so you can leave a little something like Digler Dirk and John Livingston. Thank you guys. What a nice little track, huh? Guess we can go full on weirdo after that. Yeah, no surprise you like that one. Yeah, a little bit Velvet Underground-ish as well, for sure. Sort of between Noi, Velvet Underground, and something more innocent. Cheers, John, and thank you for your support. Kind of, huh? This one John will probably know, and Stefan Geek as well. This is an insane record. I've been after it for 20 years. Was just waiting to find a cheap copy of it, and then Bosch provided. Cheapish. It's Maurizio Kagel, State Theater. The booklet inside of it, reading it will increase your IQ by 5 points for sure. Maurizio Kagel, composer from Argentina, who lived there for the first part of his life. Later on, he moved to Germany, I believe, and released quite a few records on Deutsche Grammophon. This is about the fetishization of the conceptual state of opera. This is much better than Yoko Ono. The pictures are magnificent, by the way. I love the contrast on them. Basically, one of the goals of Kagel in this was to make an opera about nothing. In the sense that he thought that most plots in opera were ridiculous. and self-important. And he also plays with the fact that modern opera was at the time almost always, a state funding affair. So he went all in against what was expected from him in a way. This was a commission originally. I love this one. Now it gets really intense. I've been fascinated by Maurice Gagel since I got his two albums, Acoustica and Exotica. Exotica, which features free jazz soloists playing, I think, 100 instruments, different instruments together, solely instruments not from the Western world. I would agree to that. Hello Ben, how are you doing? Not tonight. Yeah, that's a good way to approach it, to think about, imagine that there is something to watch at the same time. You're missing that, but close your eyes and just try to imagine an opera going on. Hello, Jose. Such a wonderful recording and impressing. The whole object is wonderful. I think I managed to get it for 35 or 40 euros, a double LP. Huh? It took a little while. It usually goes for 75, 80, 100 and over. But I didn't expect to like it as much as I do. And thank you Billy Bob, 1976, for leaving a very nice tip in the coffee jar. Merci beaucoup. And there I'm getting 80% of my objective of tonight. So that's pretty cool in terms of all tipping in the coffee jar. Ah bah ouais. Et tous les ressorts autour aussi. Yeah, I mean, What would be an opera if not dramatic? Imagine, that would be that would be falling asleep music. Now we're listening to record 3, side 3 of the 4. It takes its time to get really, really wow. I think by the end of first side, you're starting to. I mean, I like the whole of it, but it gets like now that there's some frequencies, some harmonies that are really gripping. It's not instant. Are you talking about this, Chris, or are you having a conversation with 40 men? Yeah, it sounds really, really good. Yeah. I know of them. I don't know that record. Rings a bell. I will check. Next, one of probably one of the biggest releases of last year in some regards. A record from a band I kind of gave up on for some time, and I'm giving it a chance again. Oh, nice. Good. Yeah, Kagel. Kagel is a very, very interesting composer to let into your life, especially if you're not that familiar with modern classical music and you don't listen to classical music that often. Hello, Christopher. Nice to see you. Well, that's a new one. So yeah, as I was saying, the next one is arguably one of the biggest records of last year. Not necessarily in terms of notoriety or numbers. I guess you'll understand it when I play it. Wow. This is magnificent. I love in this that you might have to go through certain times, segments of chaotic stuff going on before you get to this really deep, dramatic but also harrowing music. There it is. thing that Deutsche Grammophon was releasing stuff like that is also telling us how far back we are right now. And I don't mean that as a good thing, obviously. I love that movie. Love it. Hello, Joel. I guess you might have this record in stock in the shop, Joel. So yes, this is the latest Tortoise album. All these years between Thrill Jockey and Warp, and now that Jeff Parker's been doing all these albums for our international anthem, here they are. Changing pace, changing labels, changing coast. Basically, this was recorded on the West Coast, in Portland and in Los Angeles, and in Chicago a little bit. I mean, you can't take it, Chicago out of Tortoise, totally. Yeah, Tortoise back in form. This is the best I've heard of theirs since Standard, and might just be my favorite track of Tortoise since Millions Now Will Never Die. Now a little bit of, as we were talking about the fourth world with OHAD earlier. Fourth World by way of SND Seeker, Marcos, Spain. Okay, nice. I didn't know about that band. This is the third Grail I got this year. At all time I have my want list in Discogs, and then I have my focused want list of between 50 and 60 records that are the hard ones. And this was one of them. There's a reissue, a cheap reissue of that record, but I've been after an original of this for 15 years. And here it is. I mean, don't you already love it? Is it possible to not wow this? Amazonia, the second or third album by Finis Africae. Let me double check. I think it's their third album from 1990. Yeah, it is. They had two albums in from 1985. I don't think they're as good as this. They had their charm, but this is really where they find the golden number in a way. Oh no, 40 minutes. Longest record quest. Well, I still have one that is ongoing for 27, 28 years. 28 years. 28, 29 years, yeah. Yeah, I'm very happy with it. Condition is amazing. I heard the reissue. It is good, but difficult to say, but I suspect this sounds a little better. That track is epic, but the whole album is... yeah, and there is agreeing here. I'll let it play a little more then. I know, I got it a little earlier than that. I didn't get it through Discogs, by the way. Yeah, there's a lot of side projects of the members of that band, but really this one is the one that does it for me. Well, maybe you're more effective than me, 40 men. Maybe that's it. Yeah. Yeah. Left field music from Portugal and Spain from the 80s. This is 1990, but it's an 80s record. It's the tail end. Took a while to get its due internationally, I think, and I'm not even sure we could say it has as of yet. It's mostly like record nerds who are aware of stuff like that, but come on. We were talking earlier about making of the potential for music to create imaginary borders or to make its own borders. And a little shout out to Fred Dobbs, by the way, who came on strong earlier during the stream. I'm okay with Fred, but I'm also here to make my guests feel safe. And it was the very first time I was talking with OHAD today, and I don't know him well enough to know if how sensitive he is with people coming hard on him in the chat. So Fred, I hope you understand. If not, that's on you. Laraji is good, but Laraji often lacks this sort of sense of danger. You only have the sort of healing factor. It's almost, Laraji is too often close, a little tad too close to New Age. I mean, it's not New Age, or not totally, but this is, and this is the issue I used to have a little bit with Finis Africae, with the earlier records, that tends to be a little too nice, too sweet. Yeah, that's true. Compilation of these guys. Alright, shall we have one last little one? Or are we good for tonight? One last one. There we go. Okay, not tonight, but more Kegel. I know this for the future. And cheers. Cheers, Sarah. This record from, not my favorite of this artist, but still a good one, that got reissued on vinyl, or issued on vinyl for the first time in the past few years. This is my favorite track on it. This might be the last IDM artist I really care for. This is IDM, however silly the genre denomination is. And the name of that band is so IDM. My favorite album of his is from 2015. This is his previous album from 2004, so 11 years prior, on the 12K label. But issued on vinyl for the first time in 2021. Also soothing, but way more tension. Shuttle 358. Chessa. Salut compare vinyle. Cheers, see you soon. See you on Monday maybe. Salut Chris. Cheers, Chris. Not yet. It will have. It will wait. It will have to wait for spring or late spring. Cheers, Christopher. Cheers, Piper. Hello, Chris. Cheers, Andorra. Thank you. Yeah, that was a nice one. If you have missed the beginning of the stream, I hope you watch back. Nice little chat with OHAD and his album. We talked about Israel and making music in Israel these days. A little bit. Like the video if you like the stream. Leave me a comment if you can. And if you feel like it, it's always appreciated. And tip your DJ of the night if you spent enough time with me tonight that you think you should have bought me a beer if we were in the same room. Good night, Bernd. Thank you, Billy Bob, 1976, Vinyl Piper. Thank you, Vinyl Piper. Happy New Year. Digler Dirk, John Levinson, Thomas Corcoran, Grass, Millennium Mombo, Daniel, Mr. Zosh, GBL Frank, Marcos, Spiderland, Manuel Gocho, Chris, Barry, Bernd. And during the week, thank you, Graham and Green Crank Records.